Hello everyone and welcome to an ESO build video. Today we are covering what I have been running on the Stamina DragonKnight. Now, quick disclaimer before we get into this. This build's not entirely done. The gear itself is perfect. The bar layout is still what I'm testing. But I've had a host of people asking about this build, so I figured, you know what, we're going to put it up on YouTube, and I will simply put out another video if I find something that's better. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So, firstly, as you can see, our stat pools are actually fairly decent, all things considered. Especially since we are actually stacking max weapon damage on this build. But, 30,000 max stam, or 38,000.8, 18.7k max health, and 13.3 max magic. That's actually important because we use a lot of magic skills in this build. So it's good to have that up there. Stam recovery is 1893. I'd say that's pretty decent. So that's pretty good on a DK, especially since we have the Battle Roar passive giving us back our resources. Our resistances are actually pretty high considering we are a medium build. This is completely unbuffed at 23.7 and 20.4 on the resists. And pen, pretty decent overall. Wow, I have the wrong Munda Stone on again. Holy, anyway, that's supposed to be the Warrior Stone. Just disregard that for now. But that is supposed to be the Warrior Stone. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, our stats, as you can see, are a little goofy. Now, I got to give major credits to both Jack Daniels, ESO, and Dots Gaming. They've kind of gave me some ideas about fiddling with the attributes. So we are running 15 into health, 49 into max stam. And the reason we're doing this is because our food buff gives us no max health. Not a bit. Instead, it gives us max stam and a whole bunch of stam recovery. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have been loving this. I'm gonna be running this on a lot more builds from here on out. But like I said, major shout out to Jack Daniels ESO. I think his username on Twitch now is Christopher ESO, and Dots Gaming. Those two are the ones who inspired this setup. All right, so skill bar. Now the skill bar is kind of the part that I said has a little bit of flex to it. But here we go. On our two-hander bar, we have Fossilize for our good old CC. More importantly, we are also using it specifically to give us this. There we go. Minor Brutality for 20 seconds after casting this, giving us 10% more weapon damage. Freaking huge. Freaking huge. So, spam this as much as you see fit. It also happens to regen about 1,000 stamina every time we cast it, so thumbs up, keep casting the skill. Our second ability is Venomous Claw. It's a hellified dot. There's nothing more to really say about it. Just stick it on everyone. It's cheap as shit, so cast it as much as you physically can. This is our big flex slot for the build. Now, I actually have been loving this. You can stack Seething Fury so high with this build. You get a lot of weapon damage. I believe this build is capable of 5.5k weapon damage. I believe. I used to have it higher, but I was unable to sustain the mana pool with the higher setup, so either who. There is actually a variant of the build that actually can cast the whip. With the current variant I'm showing you right now, there's no point. This is here strictly for passives, and as such is replaceable. If I was to replace it with anything, it would be either Crit Rush for the Gap Closer or Reverse Slice for a real execute. Dealer's choice, or you can stick with the weapon damage buff from Seething Fury. Our second skill on the bar is Noxious Breath. Now this is actually our spammable, believe it or not. Flicks enemies with Major Fracture, does a nice healthy chunk of poison damage right up front, and it puts a dot on the person for when we're done spamming it. So, it's a very powerful skill. It is mitigated by Major Evasion, which kind of sucks, but I haven't really had much of a problem. I play this mostly in Battlegrounds where there's a lot of chaos and a lot of victims to go after, so you don't really have to worry about chasing the dude with Major Evasion. Next up is Rally. This is amazing. Just run this. It's such a good heal. Keep this running for like 20 seconds, and there you go. You got an 8 to 10k heal popping up. I have no idea what the hell's going on behind me. But it also gives us our source of Major Brutality for 33 seconds, and a nice heal over time. So, put this on your bar. You won't regret it. Now, another flex slot on my bar is you either want to run Take Flight here, Dawnbreaker of Smiting for 3% more weapon damage, or Onslaught. Now, Onslaught's actually super enjoyable. I'm not going to lie. I had so much fun using this for the couple games I did. But I do find that Take Flight is more practical. All in all, it is cheaper. It does more raw damage. It stuns people. It's a gap closer. I do find overall Take Flight to be just more practical in general. But Onslaught is hella fun if you ever want to give it a shot. Alright, so for our back bar, we are running Hardened Armor. The shield this gives you is very small. So if you prefer to run Volatile, by all means. I just run Hardened because it's less damage I have to heal through. It's really the only reason I run it, and it doesn't really matter whether you run Volatile or not. Our next big heal, though, on the bar is Cauterize. This was changed with Elsweyr to actually scale off weapon damage and stamina, as well as mana and spell damage. So, it's a very, very good heal for us nowadays. I like to keep it on my bar at all times. I find I don't need Major Mending with this. Normally, like most AMDKs would run a source of Major Mending. You don't really need it with Cauterize. So, I like it, but again, I'm still experimenting with the bars. Vigor, your classic stamina heal. Keep this on your bar at all times. Costs a healthy chunk of stamina, but it's a lot of healing. And by far the best part of the entire thing, stacking with our other 2 poison dots, we have Poison Injection. This also doubles as our execute, doing a shit ton of damage to anyone low health. We are also running the Master's Bow with this, so spam this on as many people as you can hit. It's freaking hilarious. Last up on the actual bar before we get into alt is Protective Plate. Now, when I did the initial testing for this build, I was a vampire using Elusive Mist here. I recently swapped back, took Vampirism off, put Protective Plate on just to feel the difference, and honestly, you can go either way. Vampirism makes you squishier, but you have a better way to escape a fight you don't want to be in. Or if you'd rather stick with the fight or stick it out longer and be at less risk, you can just run Protective Plate and drop the Vampirism. Choice is yours. I'm probably leaning towards Protective Plate at the moment, personally. And last up is Corrosive Armor. This gives us yet another poison dot to anyone near us. Basically makes us invulnerable. We have full pen on everyone around us, which means our 3 big poison dots completely shred through people. It's glorious. And it also happens to proc our Minor Brutality, give us some stamina back. All in all, it's such a good. This is such a good ultimate. Just run this. It's your oh shit button. It's a great pressure tool for dealing with tanks. There's just too many reasons to run this not to, if you get what I mean. All right, so onto the gear. Now the gear is again another thing I'm playing with, and I will go over as I go through it. Blood Spawn. We are running 1 piece heavy Blood Spawn and 1 medium. That is a max health glyph. It's meant to be a triglyph, but I'm a little broke at the moment, so it's gonna stay a health glyph for now. But like I said, meant to be a triglyph. It is an impen. We have Bloodspawn shoulders, medium, well fitted with a stamina glyph. Our chest is Shacklebreaker. Nice, heavy, impenetrable chest with triglyph enchant as like the head is supposed to be. The rest of it is medium. 1 more well fitted, so we round off with 2 well fitted, 5 impen. Stamina on the small pieces. Try on the big. If you want to actually cast Molten Whip, you can run Pelinals in here instead. And I actually was for a while. It was really fun. It was really fun, but I did find the Shacklebreaker build to be a little stronger overall and not bothering to even cast the whip. But like I said, you ever want to try it out, Pelinals is freaking hilarious, and it's basically a 1-for-1 trade to Shacklebreaker. Our final set on the bar is Ravager. I've come to love this set on DK. Absolutely love it. Noxious in Battlegrounds provides fantastic uptime on this set. It is one of the best sources of weapon damage in the game. Fury is the only thing that outstacks it, and Fury is not stackable on this build. But it gives us max health, which we desperately need, not running health from our food buff. Gives us extra weapon damage, and then a massive proc of weapon damage. So, it's very, very good. Important thing though, I am running double dot poisons as well. More poisons, more goodness. And we are running a Nirntone Maul. One thing I want to say about this, the Maul is the way to go unless you want to run Onslaught and Pelinal. You basically, if you're running Onslaught, run a sword. If you want to run the Pelinals build, I would also probably run a sword because that would also buff Molten Whip's damage. Elsewise, use them all. I don't really think an axe is needed, especially since we're already running, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. You could run a battle axe here and get a 6th if you so desire. I personally lean towards the Maul for that nice burst out of Take Flight, though. And on our back bar, we are running an Infused Berserker Enchanted Master's Bow. So, we get an extra 300 weapon damage against anyone we stick with a Poison Arrow. It's a super good bow. Also, thanks to bow passes, which is the real reason we like this. Major Expedition, which gives us movement that DK sorely lacks. So, that is it for the gear. Like I said, you can change this out for a sword if you want to run Onslaught or the Molten Whip build. Pelinals is basically a 1-for-1 trade here. You'll have less max stats, more health, but you'll be able to hit your Molten Whip, which is really hilarious. And yeah. Alright. By the way, like I said, 2 heavy, 5 medium. Alright, moving on. We actually have a champion point set up for this one. It's not thoroughly tested. I would urge you to try this out yourselves if you want, but it can most certainly hold its own in a 1v1. That much has been tested. So we have 1 into Siphoner, literally because I had nowhere else to put this damn point. 44 into Warlord, 14 into Sprinter, 64 into Mooncalf, 81 into Tumbling, and 66 into Shadow Ward. Shadow Ward was when I was testing Sword and Port on this. It's still remnants of that. As I said, the CP's not really well tested. Mostly a Battleground build. So, play around with that if you see fit. You could probably throw that anywhere else in the build, really. But, have fun with it. For blue, we have 27 into Bless, gives us bigger heals. 2 into Physical Weapons Expert. I had extra points, nowhere to put them. 56 into Master at Arms. 66 into Thaumaturge. 28 into Precise Strikes. That feels low. I don't know why it's that low. 35 into Piercing. And 56 into Mighty. Very, very basic CP setup here. Like I said, I'm not a big CP player. Red, 66 into Ironclad, 35 into Resistant, 56 into Thickskin, 43 into Hardy and Elemental Defender. You technically could take some out of Elemental Defender and put it into Hardy or Elsweyr because we have more spell resist than physical. So, there is that. And 27 into Quick Recovery for, again, more healing. Stack the heals high. DK has a lot of them. But, alright guys, that's actually really it. I'm not gonna lie. There's not a lot to this build. I am gonna quickly go over the DK passes, as they're the really only passes in this build that are important. Elsewise, you know, get all your armor passive, get all your undaunted, get medicinal use, get your racial passives. Oh, speaking of racial, we are in Nord. Stack those resist high. Wood Elves would also be another fantastic choice. They get the roll dodge passive, they get extra stam recovery, immunity to poison status effect. You could run Orc here. Really, race on this build doesn't matter all that much. We are running 2 protective on the jewelry already, so race doesn't really matter all that much. You can kind of run whatever stam race you want here. Oh, that does remind me, I didn't go over the actual jewelry traits. 2 protective, 1 robust. Alright, so now we can go through the rest of these skills. So sorry, guys. As I said, Combustion, pay attention to this. You want to get your poison on everything. You restore 500 stamina every time you apply the poison status effect, up to once every 5 seconds. So, good stam recovery. Basically equivalent to about 400 stam recovery, give or take. So, you want to make sure you're spamming as much poison around as you physically can. Snare every time we use the breath weapon and the claw. Very nice. Get this, increases our duration of our poison and our claw. And increases the damage we do with, decreases the cost of our poison stamina ability. So this, and this. Next up, Draconic Power. There's not too much to say about this whole one. More spell resist, health recovery, whatever. Increases the range of our instant melee attacks. That's kind of useful. This is the real big one here. Whenever you have a Draconic ability power active, your healing received is increased by 12%. Hardened armor. Make sure you keep this up at all times. 12% healing is nothing to laugh at. And this is kind of a worthless passive for this setup because we're not running Sword and Board. But increases the amount of damage you can block by 10%. Earth and Heart. This is where really all the magic happens for this entire build. Don't care about this one, other than increases the damage. It increases the duration of this. Battle Roar restores a ton of resources. Specifically 46 magic, 46 stamina, and 49 health for every single point of the ultimate you just cast. That's a lot. That is a lot. So, spam your ultimates. This is basically your main sustain source besides your stam recovery. Minor Brutality. Again, fossilizes what triggers this, and Corrosive. So, make sure you keep this up as close to as 100% of the time as you can. It lasts for 20 seconds every time you cast Fossilize. So, 10% more weapon damage. A lot of fun. And last but not least, you get 1,000 or 990 stamina back every time you cast Fossilize. So, again, just helps out your stamina sustain passively. It's really, really useful. Like I said, any race you want, Nord, Orc, Wood Elf, all are very usable on this setup. So, but with that out of the way, guys, I think we are pretty much done with the build. The last thing I'm going to go over real quick is I am using... quick slots would be a much easier way to get about this. We are running Essence of Health as our main potion. You kind of need this with the amount of magic skills we're running to sustain it. It's really not possible without. And like I said, we are running Lava Foot, Soup, and Sultries. Is that how you pronounce that? Anyway, a lot of stam recovery, a lot of max stam. If you feel you're too squishy, you can always go lower on the recovery or the weapon damage and get a max health food. Dubious would be my best choice scenario for the next skill thing you could use. Dubious would change your stats like so. Can I just use this? There we go. Oh wait, no. Sorry guys. So, as you notice, 18.7k health. And now we are at what? What do we end up at? There you go, 22.6. So, in a BG, that would be significantly higher, obviously. Be about 25k, give or take. So you can always run that, but your recovery will drop by about 200. So, dealer's choice, you can run Dubious or you can run Lava Foot. I prefer Lava Foot. But alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to leave you with a battle round or two to kind of show you how it's played. Note they're a little bit of a noobish game for me. I'm still learning this build setup a little bit. It's a lot of fun, but the playstyle is a little new to me still. So, anyways guys, have a good time, and I cannot wait to see you on the next build video. Peace, guys.